Welcome back to the channel, guys. As promised, we are here to review the Donner Hush X. And before we start, I met someone the other day who had a very valid criticism. So he was telling me that most of the guitar reviewers on YouTube, they make the guitar sound good and they never disclose what amp they are going in, what is the signal chain, how are they processing. So you can plug in any guitar and make it sound good. So very valid point. If you see any of my earlier videos, many times I disclose what I'm going into and how I'm recording the instrument, but sometimes I don't. So I'm going to make it a practice going forward that when I'm going to review a guitar, before I start, I'll disclose how I'm recording that guitar, as to what amp I'm using, what pedals I'm using, the entire signal chain before we actually hear the sound samples. So let's start off with that practice from this video as a due diligence. And another disclosure, Procraft sent me this guitar for a review and I've been playing it for over a month before I'm reviewing it, and that's maybe another practice I'll start, that I'll I'll play the guitar for a month before I review it. There's one more, I'll tell you which one is that. That's coming up. So let's hear the pedal board. And before we start, so this pedal board is primarily for me to play Pink Floyd and Jimi Hendrix very specifically, and a lot of classic rock. It's one of my flyboard that I have put together for jamming and gigging and other things. So let's see the board, then go to the guitar. All right, for today's shoot, this is the pedal board that we are using, and this is the fly pedal board that I use for playing Pink Floyd and Jimi Hendrix and stuff, classic rock stuff basically. So let's go to the chain, very simple. I'm using the Arowana AudioGlyph Pro 912, which is a true isolated pedal power supply. And I'm using the 912 because my amp simulator for the day is basically a 12-volt tube amp, or rather tube preamp. So I have the Univibe in the beginning of the chain, followed by the honey pot, which is very similar to a big muff and a fuzz face. It's somewhere in between. Of course, I have the AMT SS11, which is a tube preamp, which acts as my amp today. And I have the Zoom 50G, which is basically the Swiss Army knife of pedals. So the delay and reverbs are coming from there. If you want a tone tutorial of how I achieved the tone for today's playing, let me know. I'm happy to do that. And of course, you see this in the background. So basically, this is a Hex Q300, which is a semi-hollow. The review of that is going to come up next in the channel. So it's a very simple pedal board, and let me know if you want the settings or how I'm actually targeting a Gilmour tone. So in the sound sample, the reason I just went and jammed on comfortably numb is, whenever you come across a new guitar, that guitar is supposed to give you some kind of a connect towards a particular type of music or a musician or a band. So this guitar is basically looks modern, neoclassical, prog, whatever that you want to call it. I don't know, for some reason it gives me a connect. I don't know, I feel like playing more Pink Floyd, Jimi Hendrix, etc. on this guitar. Maybe it's because of the neck profile, which is very, Gibsonish, and the pickup profile and the playability, which is very Fenderish. I don't know. I'll come to that later when we talk about the build of the guitar. But that was a starting point. Now let's talk about the build of the guitar itself before we get into anything else. The thing about this guitar is, from a build perspective, it is very, very biased towards the gigging musicians, positively, that is. The form factor is so small. It weighs 2 kilos, 4.4 pounds. It comes with these amazing attachments, which is so easy to attach. I use only the bottom attachment. I don't use the top attachment because I'm now very used to playing the Steinberger, which is a headless, which started off my journey on the headless thing. So basically, you lift this, put it in the groove, boom, you're connected. And if you want to make it a full-size guitar or feel like a full-size guitar, attach the top fly also. I'm calling it the fly, I don't know what you call it. It becomes a full-blown instrument. And when you take it off, it's just this, it's more like a rowing paddle. That's the form factor. Comes with this lovely bag, and you're good to go. And these two attachments also fit in the front. You're good to go. So I don't think so any airline is going to have a problem with this guitar. I don't think so your wife is going to have a problem with this guitar sitting in the car when you're going on a road trip. So in short, it's a very, very travel friendly, storage friendly guitar. To add to the travel, this also comes with a battery. It's a simple 9-volt battery and has this active passive switch, and you can attach a headphone and basically jam, practice when you're on on a road trip or in your office or wherever that you want to keep this guitar in. Put on the headphones and you can play for hundreds of hours. Now that's the first advantage of this guitar, the form factor. Second, it's an all mahogany body, which I love personally, and it's a neck through design, which is a very expensive feature for a guitar, at this price point. And the fingerboard is composite, and it has one of the best fretwork I've seen in a long time. The frets are medium jumbo, and right out of the box, it was neither too tall nor it was too short. I didn't find a single unleveled fret. It has this nice head guard on the top. It prevents you from cutting yourself, which is a feature in headless guitars. And I suspect that this is for hanging. And see how light this guitar is. I'm literally holding it with 2 fingers. It's this light. The pickups are Alnico 5, I think. They are not very aggressive, nor they are very feeble. They're balanced, and the pickup combinations work wonderful. It's wrong to call it a humbucker single coil because it's more like a humbucker with a single coil which is positioned in between a middle and a neck. So you kind of get a very different tone from it. And talking about the tone fretwork, which we talked about, Donna calls this the travel guitar. It is a travel guitar, but it's a travel guitar with features, or rather, it's a full-fledged guitar which you can use for gigging or recording. It's a travel guitar because of the form factor. See, again, one more. Look at, can you hold a guitar this way? No, let's have some fun. I'm literally doing some weird shit with this guitar, man. I mean, it's like super light. Yeah, but built wonderfully. One of the main features which I loved, it's not a feature, it's more like a quality of the guitar. The tuning pegs are wonderful. And I don't know, it surprises me that I'm not, tuned this guitar. Even what you heard now, I didn't bother to tune up the guitar before I started playing. It doesn't go out of tune. and it's been like this for weeks. It's not gone out of tune, not once. I think it's because of the double locking feature here, and there is no whammy bar or anything of that sort which is going to move the strings. It has this amazing volume and tone control which are embedded into a single spot with two knobs over each other. It's like, reminds me of the old Marshall pedals which used to have these dual knobs, and it's a very stylish pickup selector. Downside of this pickup selector is you can't flick, the way some guitar players do when they're changing pickups. You have to do this. Overall, a lovely instrument, and I'm looking forward playing that one, which is basically a semi-hollow, one of my favorite types, for a month before I actually do a review. But this one I think is a keeper, and it amazes me that in today's because of the innovations in guitar building that we're seeing today, the quality of instruments you're getting at this price point, man. Honestly, my journey for into these more economical headlesses started because I wanted to buy a Strandberg, but I picked up the Steinberger because it was a collectible, and it was going very nicely with my Parker Fly. You can't see that, my Parker Fly is right there. So those were from that era, and I started looking at what are the other headless options. There's one more headless which has come up, which is basically the Hex N400 or 4000, something of that sort. I want to have a look at that also very soon. But it amazes me, man. These are amazing instruments at an amazing price point. So I love this guitar, and if you please show your love to the channel by hitting that subscribe button. There are more reviews, honest reviews coming up, and I'll see you the next time.